How do we relate to the things around us? We often discuss interpersonal relationships, but what about our attachments to the objects and possessions that surround us? We all need basic necessities such as food, shelter, and clothing. But do we feel better about ourselves when we wear brand-name luxury designers? And are we embarrassed to wear cheaper discount store items? Is there anything wrong with these feelings? The Jewish religion is not one of aestheticism, but at the same time, materialism is not our ideal either. We now turn to Rabbi Dov Ber-Pinson, a scholar and author on several books on Jewish mysticism, who will speak about the month of Shevat and its connection to material possessions, as well as the Jewish ideal of inclusive transcendence.
What we're trying to understand tonight is the idea of Chodesh Shvat, the month of Shvat. What is the context of Chodesh Shvat? What creates the month of Shvat? And because of that, we also have a minor Yom Tov, which is the holiday of Tu B'Shvat, or the 15th day of Shvat. So we're going to understand a few things, and then we're going to get into this a little bit deeper. So in general, the months are divided into two groups. There's the summer months and the winter months. The summer months, we're not going to talk about now because it's not summer, but the winter months is the months that represents a time that initially people go into hibernation, just like everything else in creation. People become more insular and inward focused, and that's the month of Cheshvan, that's the rainy month. Then slowly people are getting out of their shell. They're becoming less hibernating because the season was changing. It's getting a little warmer, the days are getting longer. And then Teves is a month of relationships with people. And Chodesh Shvat, Kabbalistically, according to the deeper readings of the Torah, is connected with relationships with people, a person's relationship with the objects in his or her life. We have a lot of stuff in our life, and some people have a lot of this type of stuff. What's the relationship with stuff? It can be money, and more specifically, in Chodesh Shvat, it's particularly related to food. What's our relationship with food? How are we supposed to relate to the things in our life that are stuff, that are external to us, but we're completely dependent on them? We need these things in our life. We need clothes, we need food, we need these things in our life, but we don't want to become completely obsessed with these things and completely dependent on these things that we can't live without them. So on the one hand, we need these things. On the other hand, we don't want to become obsessed with them. What is a fine and healthy balance between relating to the objects in our life, the stuff in our life, in a healthy way? On Tu B'Shvat, there's a custom to eat fruits. And according to a lot of tzaddikim, the idea of Tu B'Shvat is to rectify, is to do a tikkun for achila, for eating, and specifically also related to the eating, related to the eating of the Chet Etzadas, the eating of the tree of knowledge. The Talmidim, the students of the Ramban, bring down a story like this, that there was once a student that came to a great teacher and asked the teacher to be accepted in his academy. And the teacher tested the student, and the student was very well versed, and asked the student, have you reached a place of ishtavos, equanimity? So the teacher said, when they praise you, when people are praising you, do you feel good about yourself? He says, sure. Most people, when they praise you, you feel good about yourself. He says, how about when people make fun of you? Or they criticize you, do you feel bad about yourself? So he said, yes. So he told him, go back and come back to me only when you've reached a place that if a person's praising you or mocking you, it means the same thing to you. You're completely unaffected with what people are saying. It sounds like apathy. But we're talking about it, and we're not only talking about an apathy towards other people, we're talking about an apathy that actually extends to every element of life. What's apathy that extends to every element of life? And this is also a teaching that from the Baal Shem Tov, incidentally. The Baal Shem Tov speaks about Shavisi Hashem L'negdi Sameh. You should put Hashem in front of me at all times. Says the Baal Shem that the word Shavisi comes from the word Shaveh, which is Shtavut, equanimity. And he says this is related to people affecting others and also related to food. That also with regards to food. For example, you have a choice. You can have coffee, you can have water. If you're addicted to coffee or you like coffee, you're going to have coffee. You go into a restaurant, you go to have supper, and you have options of food. You're going to say you're choosing this food over that food. The moment you choose one food over the other food, that means that you're affected by something that's external to you. If you wake up in the morning and the sun is shining and you say, today's going to be a great day. It's a good statement. But the flip side of that is, when you wake up in the morning and it's dark and it's rainy, what do you say? You don't really say anything. You just turn around and go back to sleep. So that means that you're completely enslaved to the externals. Whatever the situation that comes up in front of you is dictating to you how you're going to feel about yourself. If someone comes over to you and says, by the way, you're beautiful, you're smart, you're a very intelligent person, you feel, hey, well, good person. But if someone says, by the way, you're all the opposite things that I just said, then you really feel bad about yourself. So you're completely dependent on someone else's opinion about you, who you are. That's the opposite of ishtavut. That's the opposite of equanimity. You're completely enslaved to others' opinions, other foods, things that are external.